but we will take
season
what we've
morning.
got and enjoy it because we are small and mighty and fantastic. So, getting started, for those of you I don't know terribly well, I'm Jana Sanchez. I'm the Executive Director of Launch NoCO, which is a nonprofit here that helps organizations form, grow, and stay in Northern Colorado. I also am lucky enough to herd the cats for 1 Million Cups meetings here in Fort Collins. So this morning we're going to get started with a couple of introductions. If you haven't joined us before, you're going to want to do two things. You're going to want to open up your participant box by clicking on participants down at the bottom, and you'll be able to raise your hand at that point. Otherwise, we will have you on mute during the process. And then you're also going to want to open the chat box, which is where all of the good commentary, snarky comments, and other fun things will go from there. So those are the two places to get started. And Kyle, I'm guessing you were prompt and wanted to introduce yourself first this morning.
Sure. Nice to meet everyone. My name's Kyle Haubrick. I own a pet care business here in Fort Collins, and I just launched an online course teaching people how to become professional pet care professionals, pet sitters, dog walkers, house sitters, that type of thing. So really excited. Starting to get some users and beta testers on there. One question that I might float to the group, if I can, is I'm trying to figure out a better way to have payments like a Stripe type of user interface. Right now, I'm using kind of a default WordPress user interface. But yeah, I'm trying to find something that looks a little bit better. So thought I'd just float that out there.
Well, if anyone has
to know,
good recommendations, they can toss those into the chat for you. And then at the end, we'll come back around to that and see if folks have some stuff for there. So thank you, Kyle. Welcome to you. And congratulations on getting things up off the ground. That's often the first hard step.
Hey, thanks.
All right, so that's one of our introductions. Who else would like to introduce themselves this morning?
I can go ahead.
Great,
I'm
Rick.
Rick Cat. I'm actually visiting here. I live in Plano, Texas, work remotely for a Seattle company, and I've been in Fort Collins a couple times in my life. Since my Million Cups locally was taking a summer break, I decided to flip around and check out Fort Collins. I'm an inventor of a new game controller that's foot operated. So this game controller is it takes actually the idea of a hoverboard, where you use your feet independently to steer, and it's connected to any first-person shooter game or things like Overwatch, Fortnite, all those things. And I'm just getting the prototype and the configuration software ready to roll out a few alpha products to some people, particularly some people who have upper limb disabilities who can't play right now, but I expect it to go bigger than that.
Wow. Rick, you're going to have to come back and present for us when you're ready and got that up and running, because I tell you, in my house, we'd love that. So
Cool.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us. For the fun fact there, for those of you who didn't know, I actually grew up in Plano and graduated or would have graduated from Plano Senior High School, but moved in the middle of my junior year. So
yeah.
And it's kind of fun
Hobo
how small
Loco.
the world.
Hobo Loco, HOBOLOCO.
Excellent. Thank you, Rick. And one more introduction this morning. Fantastic. Thank you, Stephen. This is the voluntold.
Was that me being voluntold?
That was you being voluntold.
Awesome. I'm Stephen Krause with Beyond 50% and also Directed Energy, depending on who I'm talking to. Small business owner and enthusiast, primarily doing on the directed energy side, high voltage pulse power equipment. And on the Beyond 50% side, I have this crazy idea that entrepreneurship should be, that success should be the standard, not the exception. So I consult and hope that I can help small businesses achieve that. That's me.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right, so we have two presentations this morning, and as has not really happened for us before, both of these presentations are from national companies and have presented at other 1 million cups across the country, so we're going to be joined by them. Edwin's going to kick us off this morning, and our fun fact when quizzed about what he wanted to share with all of us this morning is that his favorite ice cream is mint chocolate chip. So we can be judgy in the comment box if you'd like. All right, Edwin, if you will take it away and give us your presentation.
All right, absolutely. Well, my name's Edwin Coffey, and I am with Collaborat3com. And Collaborat3com is a global community for the music industry for creative pros to connect them live to a conference session, kind of like the Zoom session, to practice, record, and ultimately engage with fans in real time to create a fully immersive experience to share with anyone in the world. And let me go ahead and bring up my pitch deck here. And this isn't really a pitch presentation. It's just a little bit of overview on my company, what I am trying to do, and how I could have, okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes, I'm looking at a phone screen. This is fun. This is different.
All right, yeah, because I'm doing it from my phone. All right, so this here is my logo, and we're a real-time niche music conferencing community. Basically, you can search for people to collaborate with, connect with them live, and then stream those sessions live to your fans and interact with them in real time. And what I'm looking for in the community is, let's see here. Now, where would be a great location to have a community collab hub in your city? So I would like to put a collaboration hub for children to be able to create music and learn the ins and outs of the industry, how to record, how to perform, how to market themselves, and all of that in as many cities as possible. So what I'm going to do is it's going to be a nonprofit, or it's going to be a B corporation to create a nonprofit in order to have these collab hubs in every city. Now, about me, I fell in love with music when I first heard this rock and roll song in a dialect I didn't understand, yet it spoke to me in a language I could feel. I quickly learned every word and did my first performance in the first grade for the second graders' pie party. I was hooked, possibly obsessed with live performance. Turn It Down was an instant trigger that soon translated to Turn It Up. That was my entrance into my musical life of crime. Self-expression above 30 decibels is highly discouraged by almost anyone that grew up in a different era. Now, if only the YMCA or schools allowed programs to learn creative performance and music industry skills, such as recording, producing, live tech, lighting, self-promo, sound engineering, performance and dance programs, so many kids will have something that they would like to do. Music encompasses a lot of our memories and is one of the last memories we lose during brain degeneration diseases. The music of Bob Marley united rival gang members and politicians, if only for one night. Now, would your community benefit from having a collab hub for your kids to congregate and build their own music community off of their creativity? Think about the benefits whenever you go home tonight, and would you have spent time at one of those collaboration hubs? Just like sports for recreation, free education and these skills in one of the largest industries is what I'm wanting to give to the community. Now, this dream can become a reality, being self-sustainable by creating an internet hub that encourages anyone to create with everyone that has access and country permission to this internet hub. And with the skills learned at the CoLab, anyone with talent and or knowledge will be able to market their talent or just find someone to make memories with. Existing businesses will thrive from global clientele while saving money on travel to the studio. I-bands or E-bands will become a thing, and the music we get to consume will have extreme diversity, cultural aspects, and different traditions to open up to. It's basically global music. And this here is a video of what NIU has been doing for around 8 years.
It is faster than anything else developed for this application so far. We had a demo from Northern Illinois all the way to Raleigh, North Carolina, to an Internet 2 member conference out there. And that's approximately 700 miles or 1,100 kilometers as the crow flies. We were able to get the distance down to effectively 35 milliseconds of latency, which musically translates to 35 feet. It's like being on the opposite side of the stage from the musician across the United States from you.
We demonstrated by performing an incredibly intricate, interactive, rhythmic piece of music. It was highly effective. Musicians felt like they were interacting with each other. It was a rewarding experience for them musically. That, in turn, then prompts other musicians to give this a try. People are talking about rehearsing in advance of guest appearances. We might have the guest artist come, and normally they would come the day before, and you would have a very compressed schedule and maybe not really enough time to practice and prepare as you would like.
And so Internet 2 has been doing that for over 8 years now. And we finally have, speeds up to a gigabit that we can connect to. So we should be able to at least get that music latency down to around 35 milliseconds with just the audio on the internet that we have now. And the market validation for this is Mark Andreessen, Kevin Hart, and Will Smith just funded a $10 million Series A round for a conferencing system called Run the World, which is a video conferencing system for different types of events. And Jeff Bezos and Slack have actually, Jeff Bezos and let's see, who else was it? Amazon and Slack, together are going against Zoom and Teams with their own collaboration video conferencing system as well. And I'm not sure if I should start as a full nonprofit, as a B Corp, do LLC first and then nonprofit second for the collaboration hubs. So if you have any interest, I'd love to hear how you would do it and why you would choose that route. And if our whys and interests beneficially meet up, I would love to work with you and learn more from you. My exit strategy is just to be employed here in the customer experience, working hands-on and remote with creators and community leaders to help solve problems, and of course get involved with some music. And we will go back to this again. I hope I didn't go too long. Sorry about that.
You hit about 7.5, but we let you go, so not a problem.
Okay.
So thank you very much,
Yes.
Edwin.
Thank
So
you.
if you will unshare your screen with us so we can all take a look at each other. And if I'm understanding correctly, the feedback you're looking for is, 1, is this the sort of thing that would be useful in your community? 2, are you interested in having one of these in the community? And 3, feedback on how you should structure the company, whether B Corp, nonprofit, in order to have a national presence.
Absolutely, yeah. And
Okay.
I'd like to kind of have a global presence with this and be able to connect with it, just about any country that would allow their citizens to be able to do that.
All right, so I'm going to kick off the first question here. And then get to the rest of the questions. So get your hands up for me if you would, please. But my first question to you is, Edwin, how much research have you done on the kinds of competition you already have in this space?
I have done quite a bit of research. There's quite a few different collaboration communities that exist, but none of them are able to do low latency, high quality video yet. The Run the World app that is being created, that one sounds like it might be able to rival or possibly maybe even, become a partner later,
Okay.
if I create the musical collaboration piece for it.
So I think where I'm confused is I don't know from your presentation if this is a musical teaching platform for kids or if this is a simulcast performance application for musicians. I'm a little confused as to which place you're working with there.
Okay, it actually works in both. What it basically is first you would search for what kind of collaboration you're trying to look for, whether it be like a singer or a recording studio, and then you connect with them live in the video, and then you can also present those videos of those recordings or practice sessions to your fans.
Great. Okay. Stephen, how about you kick us off?
Okay. First of all, thank you for the presentation, Edwin. Very interesting idea. It sounds like it's a collaboration / sort of publishing hybrid, and that I would love to learn more. But I really wanted to speak on your question about being a nonprofit versus a profit organization. That's kind of a long discussion. There's advantages to both. I'll throw my email in the chat, and I'd be happy to talk to you about it. But it's a pretty complicated decision, or can be a pretty complicated decision. So I'd just like to offer a discussion if you want.
Hey, yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Great. Joel? Joel, you may be unmuted, but we're not getting you. We will come back to you in a minute. I'm going to move to Ozzy real quick while you work on the microphone. Ozzy, are you going to unmute too? There we go.
I know, I was having problems with getting that thing to work. Sorry about that. In some ways, my feedback is similar to Jana's, which is you're describing a variety of different businesses, and it's not clear just what exactly, to me at least, what exactly you're trying to do. When you were asked, you jumped into the mechanics of what the business can do, but all kinds of businesses can do all kinds of things. It's not coming across, at least to me, clear enough to even have a good idea of what this is about. I think there's a lot of promise there. I think you have some really exciting ideas, but if you're presenting this to someone who doesn't know it intimately, I think you're going to face some challenges.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you there, actually. Yeah, I felt like I was jumping around a little bit on this presentation. This one's my second one, so I'm trying to figure out how best to do it. But so to answer what the main thing really is it's video collaboration, just like Zoom, that musicians can connect to so that they can create together live like a virtual band practice.
And if I understand correctly, the special sauce is the fact that there's no latency, so there's no hang-ups or any of those sort of things, so you can actually do live performance together.
Yes,
okay.
With high quality audio.
Okay, great. Joel, have we gotten you back yet?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I don't know what that was. So what, how would you integrate this technology, the anti-latency technology? Because it seems to me that your businesses or organization would be dependent on it, but how do you have access to it?
Well, I have developers that are going to be able to build that for me for around $150,000. Either that or I was going to crowdsource it, but the technology is definitely available in order to do that. I know that Mumble is actually working on very low latency as well. Something just needs to be created for this type of platform for musicians to easily do it.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, Yi?
The video that you shared, is that of a competitor? And when you say that it's not possible to have, you know, live type of music making together, this is so new to me, but I've seen a lot of videos of musicians like choirs and orchestras just performing together, intricate music. So can you explain that a little bit more?
Yes, the video that I showed, that was a technology called Internet 2. We all are currently using Internet 1. Internet 2 is a second infrastructure, kind of like the main internet, but it was made a lot faster for places like universities, things like that to utilize. So that's what Internet 2 is. And they use the video conferencing system on their on the second internet platform.
Okay. Thanks for explaining that. My second question was, how are the people who are producing these videos now doing that? The people who are making music together.
A lot of them are pre-recording their performances, like for the live ones. Now for the ones that are doing it actually live, all together with people in different areas, I'm not sure how much of that is really actually happening unless they're connecting to Internet 2 or they have made some of their own infrastructure.
Okay, thanks.
Great. John?
Hi. I think, Edwin, I think you have, like anything music related, you have a chance to use language and to talk about what you do in a way that's very moving and emotive. And you kind of seem like you might be going in that direction a little bit. At one point in your presentation, you talked about hearing a song in a language you didn't understand, but like you talk a lot about connection. There's all sorts of business models that create all sorts of different connections, but if you can talk about like what inspires you that also inspires your target audience and capture that in a story where your platform has helped two people connect and collaborate musically, like talking a little bit about the impact that had on their creative process and perhaps their musical careers, and basically telling a story with two characters that people can envision themselves standing next to, and a story that communicates a shared purpose. I'd be interested in seeing, well, like one thing I saw in your presentation was we need to encourage innovative creation in children. That gets a little bit more to something that's less, I don't know what the word is, like not rhetorical, but when you say stuff like we create connectors that create connections, that sounds kind of nondescript, it sounds interesting, but homing in on how exactly you make a difference in people's lives and then trying to capture that with a short story or a statement of purpose is really important, and is really an opportunity I think that you have as someone that is kind of doing something to facilitate musical collaboration. We're all moved by music. So.
Great. Thank you, John.
Yeah, thanks, John. That's really good feedback. I agree with you. There should definitely be a better story behind that, and why I'm doing this. So the reason I'm doing this is to actually help people create careers out of their musical abilities, out of the things that they've worked on so hard. By finding the exact connections that they need to collaborate, and then sharing those collaborations.
Great. Allison, yeah, I think you're going to be our last comment, and then we'll wrap it up. Or not. All right. Allison may have stepped away for a moment. So,
hold on, here I am. I'm here.
Okay.
I dropped my phone. I dropped my phone and I hit a button and all kinds of things happened. Great presentation, Edwin. I think it's a really interesting concept. Certainly there's improvements that can be made based on everything that people are saying in the chat box. To answer your question about would something like this fit in our community, I didn't really hear anybody answer that question. I think Fort Collins is a very musical city, and I think it could be something that would be interesting here. Jana did mention the music district in Fort Collins. It's a nonprofit organization here. It's a great one for you to connect with. But I did want to just say, I think Fort Collins is a great place for you to explore. And there's a number of introductions, I think, that people in the chat said that they could maybe make for you. So I'll drop my contact info in the chat also. I'd love to connect. I've got a few people that I think might be a good intro for you, including somebody in the Philadelphia area.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you. Yes.
Well, thank you, Edwin. Appreciate your presentation for us today. Just to wrap it up before you have to zip out to another 1 Million Cups presentation, you're going to want to take a look at some of the things in the chat, because as Allison mentioned, we have here the International Music District, which is a little bit different than other places have, because we have a resident billionaire who's interested in supporting music education. And the other piece that you might want to look at is one of our local companies called Itty Ditty that's been around for the last 4 or 5 years, that is a music songwriter producer collaboration platform that has been getting a lot of traction and steam over the last few years. So those pieces of information are in the chat. And thanks for dropping in and presenting for us today.
Hey, thank you so much.
So appreciate that. And we'll move right into our second presenter today, is Armand. And he actually is living in Silicon Valley, so you're going to have to give him a little bit of leeway given how early it is for him right now. So we will let him take it away with our second presentation of the morning. Everybody take a sip of your coffee.
Great. Can you see my presentation? Yeah, don't forget the coffee in between. We used to do that standing up.
Yes, we can see your presentation.
Great. Hello, friends. Thank you for your invitation. Thank you for your time. My name is Armin. I'm CEO and founder of Got It. Got It is a mental git in the pocket of Adlet. So I'm a former professional tennis player, psychologist, and co-founder of Tennis Academy in Florida. And for 6 years, we accepted more than 2,000 athletes from 15 countries. And we noticed one simple problem. Boy or girl plays on the practice very well, but when the competition starts, that's it. They can move normally, breathe normally, and parents and coaches cannot recognize their kid. So the problem is 9 from 10 tennis players lose matches only because of the mental weakness. And we decided to solve this problem. We tested 80 mental techniques with 1,000 athletes. And for 6 months, we sold them online for $100,000, around this amount. And then we chose one from 80 from 80 mental techniques and developed mobile app for usability for users and scalability for us. this one selected mental technique was one of the most demanded mental technique from 80 tested. And the secret sauce of selected technique is a Q&A algorithm to make an internal dialogue with oneself like with another person. How it works, it's pretty simple. It's like a role-changing game where athletes communicate with oneself from mentee role and then from mentor role. And then he has a chance to listen to this internal dialogue from third observer role. And it allows athletes to distance from their destructive emotions and thoughts and achieve answers and insights which she or he didn't get before, achieving mindfulness and mental toughness. So we are developing this app right now and expecting that the launch will be in July 10th. So we're going to sell this through 5-day trial period, and then athlete can buy a premium plan for $69.99 and also personal mental support from mental coach. Our mindfulness market is growing so fast. So in the world, 5 billion, in the US, 2 billion. And the leaders who takes around the 80% of market is Headspace and Calm mobile app. But they working for everybody, not only for sport. We concentrate on the sport. And we're going to start from especially tennis players because we know them very well. And as you see, there is some space and opportunities for sales. Our go-to-market strategy also pretty simple. We're going to start with tennis coaches and then working with tennis academies in the United States and Europe. And then we're going to work with tennis organizations. And then in the end of year, we're going to start working with esports and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu organizations, which we have a request from already now. Our competitors are working right now like a YouTube channel. So they give some video or audio lessons without any interaction with the athlete. And nobody does internal dialogue with daily interaction with the athlete like we do. This is our plan on this year. So as I said, our launch of our MVP planned on July 10th. Then in July and August, we're going to fundraise around 500K for global marketing and app developing. And then in the fall, we're going to extend the app functionality. And in the end of the year, we're going to start working with esports and martial arts organizations. And also you can see our planned growth of users in the yellow squares. I told about myself already, and also we have a great team of Russian IT developers and marketers. They're damn crazy competent and not so expensive for us, thanks God. And we are Silicon Valley startup. We were selected from more 400 companies into Founder Institute Silicon Valley Accelerator Program. There is such an accelerator program here. We survived among more 30 companies during 3.5 months and hit the 8 graduates of winter cohort 2020 of Founder Institute. So here we got a lot of great, brutal feedback and a lot of networking with competent people. We are looking for 500K investments for improve the app and global marketing, partners from sports and wellness business, and also from 1 Million Cup community. We are looking for your advices and thoughts about the idea, because now we have 2 groups of people. The first group said that our app sucks, but second group said that our app is great and it's a great idea, you know. Very, very different opinion. Thank you for your attention.
Great. Thank you very much, Herman. Appreciate that. So in terms of feedback, you're looking for how this might apply in terms of investors and what information they need, and what other feedback are you looking for specifically?
Would you use this app? Just simple question. For yourself or for your kids, if you have a teenage kids. So.
And you unshare your screen so we can all see each other, kind of.
Sure. Stop sharing, or yeah.
There we go.
There we go. All right, thanks, Ozzy. All right, who wants to kick us off and get started here? Ozzy, I'm guessing that's you.
Well, I mean, it's a very interesting app, but I was trying to figure out a couple of things that I wasn't too clear about. Number one, it's a pretty much tennis centric. A lot of new applications begin in one area as a kickoff, but it's intended to go elsewhere. Secondly, is it really focusing on kids, or is it for anyone who is for anyone? Third, is it only intended for the cream of the crop in every sport, or is it supposed to help everyone? Those questions didn't come entirely clear. The one other area that I would point to is in looking at the app itself, and as someone who's participated in competitive sport, is that there are some sports for which having that internal conversation is really beneficial. And I can point to golf, for example. I mean, usually it's where you're competing almost against yourself. So one will be golf, another one will be trap and skeet shooting. Any kind of shooting event where you're shooting for accuracy is an internal thing. So in those kinds of sport, where you really are working on that mindfulness, that personal mindfulness, as opposed to a team issue, I think your application has may work quite well. So basically, those are my quick feedback.
Cool. Thanks for the questions. Yeah. We're going to start from tennis. We understand that tennis is not so pretty big market for us. It's not the biggest market for sure, but we know tennis. I play tennis from 6 years old, and we're going to start. Now we're going to focus on this sports, and then we're going to expand this for golf, etc. First, and the second, we have a great database of tennis coaches and tennis parents. That's why we choose the tennis. But for sure, we're not going to stop on the tennis only. We're going to work with golf and basketball, which most innovative sports from among another one. Esports, very interesting area. Yeah.
And one of the only sports that's still being played right now.
Sorry?
Esports is one of the few sports that's actually still being played right now.
Exactly. But there is a lot of money, and the problem is the same. I told with the esports coaches and athletes the same, anxiety, fears, and etc. And the second question about age, we're going to start from 12 to 18. Because our previous product, like an online course for athletes, was for this target audience. And then maybe I'm sure that it can work with the entrepreneurs and professionals for sure. And I'm sure that it can work with women, especially with women. For example, the 70% of target audience of the Calm app application, if you know that, the meditation application, $1 billion company, 70% there is women, and
okay. Yeah. Let's get to Jennifer, your question and feedback.
Yeah, I had similar questions to Ozzy, and so you guys kind of already answered some of those. And then you brought up the Calm app, because I saw the Calm app on your PowerPoint, which I've used the Calm app. And mental toughness is important for anybody, you know, athlete or I'm a cyclist, so yeah, but also entrepreneur. So I could see this, I definitely see it as being useful because I've used the comment, the insight timer, and I could see how having a little bit more mental dialogue would be kind of interesting rather than just with me in the ether. So that was an interesting concept, and I think it has possibility. And so, yeah, you guys already answered my question as to just staying with tennis, or so yeah. So I think it's a great idea.
Thank you. Thanks.
So I know that we have a local company here we've seen before talk about the mental side of sports, and it's called My Performa. And Justin has been working very hard on that for a long time in terms of working with youth sports. He's a basketball coach, so they've started in the basketball area. They have key performance indicators. They do a sheet before the kids go out and play a game, and then they do a summary survey after the kids play the game to kind of get a sense of where the mental piece was in the middle of that. His biggest problem has been having that be adopted in mass by either teams or parents in that. So I'd be curious to hear from you how you're looking at scaling that and getting the adoption rate up in terms of a customer base for yourselves.
Good question. I don't have an answer, honestly, on this question yet. We need to test it.
Mm-hmm. So you're still in very much the kind of beta stage of early testing with specific athletes?
Yeah.
Or is it out on the open market yet?
Now we need to develop the product now, just for July 10th, and then we're going to test it with athletes and with entrepreneurs, with tennis players, with another athletes, like several sports, and with entrepreneurs. And let's see what information we'll get. Yeah, it's all about testing. I can
we tend to think so too. Yes.
Yeah, I can say a lot of words now, but it's useless, you know. It's about testing.
Okay. Other feedback, comments, or questions for Armin?
I'll pipe in, Jana. I can't raise my hand because I'm a host, so I'll raise my hand. Yeah, I would just say, just really kind of a comment, just from a, sort of an investor standpoint. You know, you're looking for funding. I would like to see a little bit more in there about the use of funds, how you're going to use that money. You know, is it going to be salespeople? Is it going to be developers? How does that look? You know, how's that $500,000 going to be used? And then a little bit, I know you've got your go-to-market for the tennis piece, and I know you're starting there, and I understand that. But I would like to see that fleshed out a little bit more too, in terms of, we're starting with tennis, but we have these other areas in mind, you know, and really kind of flesh that out from an investor perspective. So that's what I have. I think it's a really interesting product. Mindfulness, like you said, is huge right now. So I applaud it. I think it's really interesting. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Should I answer on this, or?
Please.
Yeah, for sure. We start from tennis, and then we're going to another sport. I think we need to show this idea in presentation better. That's a good idea. Thanks. And the second, how we're going to spend money. Around the half of this go to the product development, because now we have a lot of difficulties, you know, with our with money for product development, because it's like a voice changing technology, etc. And another amount, around 40%, go to the marketing with English speaking countries, US, UK, Australia, and India too. Because we did the trial advertising company in Facebook and Instagram, and we got applications from these countries for around $2 for so low price, you know.
I would just suggest also, you know, consider the possibility of needing to spend some of that money on actual salespeople who can go to larger organizations and that kind of thing and sell this en masse, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
think about that.
Good idea. Yeah. Thank
Great.
you. Thanks.
Brian?
I have two quick things, Armand. Great presentation. One thing I would recommend is as you're going into investors, watch where your camera is, because at the moment you kind of look like you're looming over us, and that may give a bad impression to an investor. The other part is, from what I understand, you're trying to do an app with this. What I would like to understand more is, why does it have to be an app? Why is it not a class course? Why is it not a certificate to coaches? Why is it not any of these other things? Because I, as a potential investor, am going, why am I doing it this way instead of that way?
Cool. Great questions and comments. Thank you. I didn't try, by the way, about the make a video of myself about the why is this app. When we went to the Founder Institute Accelerator program, we went with totally different product, with online course for athletes, and we using their mental coaches. And we decided in the program, I understood that it's not scalable model. Now we earn money in this business, in online course with athletes. But it's not scalable model because it's connect with real people, with mental coaches. Why it's not software? Because our audience, it's not a software audience, it's app audience, the teenagers. They using phone, not computer. A lot of them don't have computer actually, and it's a first. And second, these guys, we know these guys very well, I think, and these guys don't need any psychologist or something. I need, because I'm old, but they not. You know, they want they smarter than we are, and they can overcome their mental difficulties by themselves, and we need to create a form to doing this. I think this one. But I'm agree that, for example, Calm starts from the software. If you know, just they publish like a picture, and you had to see on the picture just during 2 minutes, and that's it. That's started the Cal app.
Okay. Thank you, Armand, very much. Appreciate it, and appreciate you joining us today. So thank you and good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks, friends.
So, all right. In our last 10 minutes here today, as traditional, I want to talk about who's had wins this week, who could use a little bit of help this week, or who has a resource or other thing that might be useful to the rest of the group. So Jen, you've got your hand up already. You knew it was coming. What have you got for us?
I did know it was coming, and I try to prepare something so that there's no dead space. But yeah, so I had my so I led the first virtual pet summit that I know of last week, and it was a huge win. The speakers had fun, and it was a huge win for me, just orchestrating and speaking as well. The participants had a lot of fun, and so it was awesome. I also gained clients from it. People have wondered what I do, how I do it. So that's been awesome. And then I opened my dog fitness park. That's been a lot of fun, bringing dogs in to use it. And I've been doing a members launch through July 5th of 50% off membership. So it's been a good couple of weeks, a good couple of months of planning. And so I'm looking forward to more fun.
That is awesome. When you can actually do an event that pulls in actual clients, that's huge. So congratulations. That's a big win for you. Very excited for you. Yeah, Yi, how about you? What are you up to this past week?
Too many things, but the thing
you're gonna have to talk up just a little bit for me.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, so much better. Thank you.
Okay. I found that I made it to the NoCO style top, best of list totally by surprise. So now I have to figure out, you know, if it's worth the money to buy an ad. But, you know, I'm barely in business for a year, and so that's makes me happy.
Yay.
Yeah.
So this puts you on the NoCO style list.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So
Congratulations.
should I buy ads for it? Any thoughts? Anybody?
I would say the history of NoCO style, and other people chime in here, but the history of NoCO style is much more suburban, upper middle class mom in that particular demographic, and knowing from your presentation a couple of weeks ago that that's the demographic you're really kind of looking to meet. I don't know that there is a better publication for you to be buying ads in Northern Colorado. The question about buying ads in general, that's, you know, maybe a conversation over coffee or something, but that would be the target demographic for them.
Thank you.
Yay, so congratulations on that. And did we have Ozzy? You've got your hand up for me.
Yeah, one quick thing, because we've been getting some good questions on our framework for recovery. And then it dawned on me that we have all of these resources on 1 Million Cups. And I was trying to figure out how, if I need somebody, is there a way to find out what everybody on 1 Million Cups for Collins does? Or is there a central repository? I couldn't find one. So I'm just curious. And if we don't have one, should we? Just a couple of questions.
Couple things to that. One, we do have the new 1 Million Cups Facebook group. So if you're looking for something specific, people can put things in there. The second piece of that is, yes, some of that is coming, and you will see an Entrepreneur Spotlight video series coming out from Launch NoCO in the next couple of weeks. So this has been Megan's baby, and we've been slowly kind of getting folks to develop a video series about their businesses that we'll be hosting online for that. So yes, good ideas, and yes, there's some work that's coming, and if you want to help do that work, let me know.
Whatever I can do, because I think we do have an amazing group of people here, very talented, very capable. We all kind of know each other. So, you know, every time you reach out and you find somebody new, your first question is, are they who they say they are? Can they really do what they think they can do, and all that good stuff? I think our interaction with each other makes that the whole process a lot easier. So yeah, anything that I can do to help, let me know.
Great. All right, appreciate that. I am also putting my win in the chat, which is the Launch NoCO YouTube channel, which now has the majority of our online Zoom calls up and posted. So if you want to go back and see those folks, I'll be getting those up on social a little bit later today, trying to get that. So, and Allison, I see Megan put the Facebook group in there. And Brian, you've got your new book out and you're putting it in the chat and not talking about it? Come on, dude.
No, I am putting in the chat a Supreme Court release that came out Monday, if I remember correctly, on trademarks. They released their Booking.com case about how if you have a generic URL, how that can become a registered trademark. So that's important for everybody. And yes, I do have a book on trademarks. I will put that in the Amazon link as well in the chat.
And that is the third book you've written now?
Yep. And
Woot.
I've got a fourth back
Congratulations.
from an editor.
That is great.
Somebody's been working hard in quarantine.
Yeah.
Lies, damn lies and statistics.
Steve, what do you have to share with us today?
I have mostly a question, and I don't want to throw us down a rabbit hole, but I am curious how small business owners feel about the protests of Facebook in terms of how you address your own marketing strategy. Obviously, Facebook and Instagram are super cheap, so if you're making the choice, you know, and I'm not trying to ask people what their political affiliation or whatever is, but how do you respond to something like that? I just like to throw out the question for the group and see if there's anybody out there, because I'm kind of struggling with, you know, myself. What do I do? So just like to throw it out the group and see what people think.
Does anyone want to address that one? Go ahead, Brian.
What I would say is it's going to depend on the business. So my mom's just started her own fitness studio. She teaches fitness classes on Zoom to active agers and people looking to remain fit. And her audience and her friends and everybody is on Facebook. She doesn't really have a good option to step away from it. Yeah. On the other hand, I don't get any business from Facebook. I'm never on Facebook. I stepped away and there's never going to be any problems with it. So I would say it depends on that. And I'll put her information in the chat as well because it's fun classes, always entertaining.
And it's Brian's mom. All right. I think what I've been hearing from a number of different places at this time, Stephen, is that it's, again, a choice between calculation and compassion. And the compassion in upholding the principles behind the ban itself or the boycott of those, and the calculation of how much opportunity does this bring to my business right now in a time when most of us need that opportunity in our business. So it is a fine line to walk between the two. The interesting thing that I haven't often seen in these kinds of boycotts is that they are being led by the large companies rather than the small companies. And so with that, the impact that you personally can have versus the impact Starbucks has as the 6th largest advertiser pulling out of Facebook is a different weight to that. I've seen it go both ways in terms of now that the ad buys have all gone away from other folks, my ads got a whole lot cheaper and I'm reaching a whole lot more people for a whole lot less money, and I'm making the sun, the hay while the sun shines. I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing. The question I would come back to you with is, will your target clientele be disappointed that you're advertising in Facebook during a boycott or not? And if the answer is yes, then you might not want to do that. If the answer is they probably don't care, then maybe you don't care either.
Yeah, thanks.
I think that's as neutral as an answer as I can give.
And just a quick feedback, Stefan, I would tell you, I think people, even when they disagree with you, respect when you act on principle. I think people disrespect you when you're trying to be a slime ball, trying to go along with whatever the latest fad is. So my recommendation is figure out where you stand, where you can defend on your own based on your ethics and your values, and go with it. For me, I despise censorship. Any efforts to silence people, I react very definitely against it. So if Starbucks pulls out of Facebook because they don't like the fact that Facebook is not censoring, then I pull out of Starbucks. But those are my values. Not everybody goes the same way. However, as someone who takes very strong positions on these issues, people respect the fact that I have them, even when they disagree with me. On the other hand, those people out there kind of sliming their way along, trying to please everybody, they tend to pay a price too. So figure out where you stand and then stand on it. That's my recommendation.
Thank you.
Great. All right, well, we are right at 10:01, so everybody go off, have a fantastic week, have a very safe and socially distant 4th of July, so be careful out there, and we will back here next week, same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks.
Thanks. Take care.
Good to see you all.
All right, take care, guys. I'll see some of you for Sips and Tips tomorrow.